Okay, so today we're going to be changing the carburetor on a Coolster dirt bike, and I'm going to be changing out the tube and the tire on an Azusa-style mini bike with a 212cc Predator engine. Okay, so first we have the Coolster. This is a 107cc single speed auto clutch dirt bike. We got it for 200 bucks on Facebook Marketplace, and it runs all right, but it does need a new rear tire. Maybe I'll just swap it out for the front one. And the carb leaks. We also had to buy a new battery for it, and it doesn't seem to hold a charge. I'm not sure if the alternator coil isn't good, but yeah, I'm gonna get this apart and start getting that new carburetor on there. So before this carb, the whole float bowl was filling up and gas was just leaking out of here, out of the overfill. And I took it apart once and adjusted the flow, made sure everything seemed good. And I put it back together and it seemed like it wasn't leaking, and it started leaking again. And I found a new carb that's supposed to fit this bike for 10 bucks on eBay with an air filter, which we didn't have. So I just pulled the trigger on that, and I'm gonna see if I can get this cable out of here real quick. So that was pretty straightforward. I'm gonna get the other carb and see how the cable links to that one. I'm gonna see if I can get the cable out of this one real quick. All right. So that was easy. The whole new carb set I got from eBay for 10 bucks. Unbeatable deal. It's a no-brainer. Just starting right off, it already looks like a similar setup. It's got this tube coming out at an angle. Only thing I noticed that was different is this choke. It's a little different. I'm assuming that's the choke. Hard to see at this angle with the light. So this looks pretty straightforward. I'm gonna see if it fits on there and try to get the components put together. Just to follow through on the unboxing here, the other components came with it. Came with this cone air intake, which is pretty cool. Kind of an upgrade from what would have originally just been like a foam air filter. We got a fuel line, which I might not need. 2 filters, which I don't even need. So it came with a bunch of extra accessories for 10 bucks. New petcock. The one on it's kind of tight, but I'm gonna leave it. More gaskets, put it on there nice and tight, make sure it's not leaking air, and a spark plug. Unfortunately, it didn't come with a cable, so I'm hoping the one that I have is gonna fit. I don't think we need this right now either, so that'll be good extra to have. Now we're gonna see if this cable fits this carb. I'm gonna take this tape off here. I think they put that on there because it was deteriorating. Seems to be that the end of this cable is damaged, so it'd be better to replace it, but I'm gonna see if I can make it work as is, because I think it will. Be careful not to lose anything, and don't do what I'm doing. You shouldn't be setting stuff like that on the ground. You could get dirt and stuff in your carb. I'm gonna take the risk right now. Technically not even my bike. Obviously I should still care. I'm already kind of stumped on this, so I'm gonna take a second and see if I can figure out how to get this cable in here. Okay, so yeah, I just needed to tip it over and this part came right out. I'm gonna call it the piston. I'm sure it's not called a piston. I can tell already that it fits right in there from the factory, so no need to replace the cable technically, but I do need to thread the cable through the head of the carb first really quick if I can get it through here. There it goes. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, getting in there was a huge pain. I found the easiest ways to get the cable through the spring first, and I got my pliers on it, and then once I got my pliers on it, I used this vice grip to grab the end of the cable and move my pliers up the cable until I had enough space to get the end of this cable into this slot. Okay, so we got that on there properly. One side of this piston thing is angled up. That's supposed to be on the air intake side, so this side, and it is currently working properly. So that's already, I'm gonna get the fuel line on the air intake and get it back on the engine, and we should be good to go. All right, it should be ready to fire up, and I'm gonna have to jump it because the battery's dead. Okay, so I got it hooked up to my car. You don't want to have the car running because it could be too many amps for a motorcycle battery to handle. Got the gas on. And it's on. Fuel. There's no gas in this thing. Okay, so this thing's powered by gas and it doesn't have any gas in it. So I'm gonna add gas and then see if it works. Okay, so now that the gas powered bike has gas in it, and have to adjust the cable. Okay, so the cable was just too short. So to save time, instead of ordering another one, because this isn't even my bike, I just cut a section of the cable housing out so that the cable doesn't have to travel so far, and it has some slack down in the carburetor. And now it's firing up. I'm gonna put some tape around it because it is still a little funky. It's going. Got some pirate tape on there because everyone knows the pirates are sick. Running. It might need a new spark plug, but it's usable. So I'm just gonna call it good for now and get to my next project. Okay, so now I'm gonna start working on this bike. I'm gonna take off the back wheel and I'm gonna put a new tube and tire. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna see if I can redo this drum brake that I kind of custom installed, because it constantly drags on the back wheel, creating drag, and it doesn't even brake that well. So I'm gonna try to reconfigure it. Okay, so originally I had the cable pass underneath the frame and then come up through a hole that I drilled right here to the brake. And I think that just all the angles is making it so that it has a little bit of friction coming through the tube. I also dragged the brake along the ground during a trip and damaged it, so the cable's not moving smoothly through the housing. So this thing is a split rim, so I'm gonna have to split this rim before I can get the new tire and tube on there. I'm gonna have to add a little air to the tube so it holds shape while I put it in. All right, that's good enough for now. Okay, so this part's pretty difficult. I have to get a certain number of spacers through one side and then to the other side where this brake is. The brake is threaded because it was the only way I was able to make it fit at the time that I installed it. I would have drilled it, but I didn't have a drill bit large enough, so I literally just threaded the thing in order to get it to fit on this shaft. So basically, I'm gonna try to get this through there. Okay, so that took me about a half hour. I took a hose connector. I believe it's stainless steel. It's somewhat rigid. It's at least good enough for now. As a spacer, I think I might have lost one of my spacers because I couldn't find the right combo. But anyways, I got these through here backwards. I did it backwards, but woo! So I got the wheel back on. I think the best that I've ever done it, but unfortunately damaged the cable too much and it's about to fall off. So I'm gonna have to completely redesign the brake. Long term, I could just design a brake that's just a foot brake, and I think that would work a lot better. So I just took this arm for the brake and I put it on a vise and hit it with a mallet a little bit to give it a bit more of an angle so that I can get it on the side of the bike right here and have it stick out far enough that I can get a lever that comes to the front for a foot brake. So I got a reasonable position on this. I found this pretty cool curtain rod. It doesn't look like it's rusting too bad, so it should be relatively water resistant. I'm gonna cut it up and make it into a brake for this thing. Okay, so that's why you're supposed to wear an eye mask, because Imagine if that went straight towards my eyes. That's pretty crazy. I'm fine though. Okay, so I'm having a really hard time drilling this, and there's definitely some safety risks. So I'm gonna just try to get this cut to the right length, and then it should be easier to bring this over to a drill press and just do it right. So my phone died, but I used my stepdad's drill press to safely make holes in this. I've got this rod on here. It's gonna be kind of difficult to fit the bolt through, but I'll make it work. Okay, so I got this bar in the back, and it's relatively straight in the front, and it's got sort of fluid movement. So what I need to do, first I need a bar mounted down here at the bottom of the frame, and then this connected to the top of it as high as possible, get as much leverage as possible, and then I'll have a bar coming out from it for my foot, and that's gonna be my brake. Okay, so basically I got this thing on here. It wobbles back and forth and it touches the back wheel on the torque converter, but when I actually put my foot on it to use it, there's so little space on here for my foot that I actually have to have it all the way out. And then on the rear, I had used this clip and it was just too difficult to get it back on after I positioned this further back because there wasn't enough space here for this to go down, and this was hitting this nut. So I put it back, and the only thing I could get on here was this tiny rebar stuff, but I got on there pretty good. Okay, so I took a bolt and put it through that lever because it is slightly stripped and kept coming loose. This thing's a little funky, but it seems to be working. I'm gonna take a little ride. That concludes this video. I've done what I need to do. I made it work. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for now. I'll slap some oil on my chain. We're gonna call it good. This is a little follow-up. I beefed up the front of this thing because it was wobbling back and forth a lot. And now it's pretty rigid. And overall, this mechanism just works a lot better. You hear that? That's a fox.